The woman is cooking. She turns her head and sees her neighbors moving in a panic. They tried to ask what was going on. The neighbor just told them to get out of town too. They were puzzled, but the neighbor didn't explain any further. It wasn't just the neighbors. The streets were filled with people frantically trying to leave. Jack and his wife decided to take their daughter and leave. Little did they know that they would never return. Halfway out of town, they saw many of the neighbors who had just run away coming back. Things got weirder and weirder. They had a vague feeling that danger was approaching. When they reached the exit of the town, they realized that the only way out had been blocked by the military. Neighbors gathered to talk about the incident. It turns out the town was infected with a serious virus. That's what brought the military into action. Long lines, closed exits, helicopters overhead. They knew something extraordinary was about to happen, and sure enough, after a while, there was a loud roar in the distance. Two fighter jets roared overhead. They were headed for the town. Everyone looked at the homes they had lived in. The planes suddenly dropped their bombs. They bombed the town indiscriminately. The town was leveled to the ground. Everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't know what was happening to them. In an instant, smoke billowed over the town. Everything was dead in the smoke. Before they could grieve, something even more horrible happened. After the two planes finished their bombing mission, they turned around and flew towards them. They realized that they were also targets of the bombing. Their survival instincts led them to run for their lives. Annie looked up and saw the water tower on the hill. Suddenly, she remembered that there was a secret room here. The family quickly ran up the hill. By that time, the planes had already begun their second wave of bombing. All they could do was run and hide from the attack. They finally reached the school at the top of the hill. Jack and his wife scrambled to clear the entrance to the secret room. They knew this might be their only chance of survival. The planes overhead were getting closer and closer. Jack smashed through the chains and went in first. They had just closed the steel door overhead. The sound of an explosion was heard above them. Outside, the battle raged on. They had a brief moment of peace. What kind of horrible virus had hit the town? The military wanted the town to disappear. They couldn't figure it out. They had to settle down. This is a permanent temporary shelter. It's stocked with expired food. The three of them should be able to hold out for a while. They chained up the steel door, and so the family began to live in the dark. The canned food was barely enough to keep them fed. Luckily, there was a well near the wall. Even if the water was murky, they could survive. To pass the time, they invented games, and Jack told his daughter many stories. The isolation of the world. The family was able to enjoy themselves in the midst of their misery. But as time went on, the daughter couldn't take it anymore. She asked her father how long he was going to stay here. Jack could only comfort his daughter. When the virus disappears and everything grows, that's when they'll see the light of day again. A child's world is simple. Every day she drew a vertical line on the wall. She looked forward to the day she would leave. Before she knew it, the vertical line filled the wall. More than once, the daughter took their homemade periscope. She looked through the vents to see what was going on outside. The walls were crumbling. All of them had been bombed. There wasn't a trace of life. That day they found a hole in the can that they relied on to survive. Had a hole in it. And what's even more terrifying, the steel door above them rattled loudly.